Red, white, and true, baby. Listen up. Ed leans back in his John Deere cap. Says I don't chase clicks, I just chase facts. Got a Bible by the mic, small town on his back. Reads every line before he hits that track. Ronnie in the booth with a notepad full. Cross on his chain, hard, humble, but full. We ain't here to judge, just talk what's real. Taste every word before we serve that meal. Red, white, and true. We stand on what we do. Gotta taste your words before you say them. Cause the truth cuts clean when you lay it. Red, white, and true. We pray on what we choose. If you don't line up with his view, we don't spread it. Red, white, and true. Rolling that feed, everybody want flame. Pointing at a headline, never read the whole page. It says slow down, son, check that source. Every tongue got power. Pick your course. Ronnie takes a breath, says a quiet prayer. Lord, guard my mouth, let me keep it fair. We talk fake, talk flash, talk the hard news too. But we weigh each word like it's aimed at you. Hey, hey, red, white, and true. Stand on what we do. Gotta taste your words before you say them. Cause the truth cuts clean when you lay it. Red, white, and true. We pray on what we choose. If it don't line up with his view, we don't spread it. Red, white, and true. We ain't perfect, just forgive it. Trying to walk it out, not just talk opinion. You can disagree, pull up a seat, that's fine. But we keep it in grace when we draw that line. Hey, 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 red, white, and true. We stand on what we do. Gotta taste your words before you say them. Cause the truth cuts clean when you lay it. Red, white, and true. We pray on what we choose. If it don't line up with his view, we don't spread it. Red, white, and true.
Woohoo! Almost there! Phew! Made it! Now for some TV. All right, Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. This is gonna be great!
Okay, well, uh, it was my fault this time, guys. It was my fault. And so nobody has heard a word that I said except Amy. And so for that, boy, Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray that Satan get behind me. I pray that you would help me not to have any more technical difficulties, whether I cause it or whatever happens. Help this show to run smoothly tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. So I explained that Ronnie is he's not here right this second. Not sure if he will be. Um, We've had bad weather here yesterday and today, and both times that affected his being able to leave on time. And so that's been going on. Just mentioned just a few seconds ago that Amy and I will be starting back with prayer and share very, very soon. I know that several people had mentioned that to us, and we said back when we started March the 18th of 2020, we said that we would do prayer and share until God led us in another direction. And we've been on hiatus. We haven't been on much in the last, since we started Red, White, and True in November of 24. But God has never led us away from doing prayer and share. And so we're going to kick that back off real soon. Let's see. I was in the midst of talking about Carolyn Levitt, and today she posted on X, serving as the White House press secretary over the past year and a half has been the honor and adventure of a lifetime. I'm incredibly grateful to President Trump for granting me so many extraordinary opportunities, such as working in the West Wing and spending countless hours in the Oval Office, flying around the world and meeting foreign leaders and traveling across our beautiful country and meeting Americans from all walks of life. Most of all, I am thankful to the President for entrusting me with the distinct privilege of speaking on his behalf at the White House podium. I have spoken with great pride about many historic accomplishments of this administration, and I have relished holding the liberal media accountable and ensuring the American people hear the truth about President Trump's success. Being a mother and welcoming a new baby while working in one of the most demanding jobs in the world has been the most rewarding yet challenging season of my life, to say the least. The truth is, since returning to the White House after the birth of my daughter, I have felt in my heart that I cannot be the best mom my two young children deserve while devoting the constant time, energy, and attention required of the White House press secretary. And that is why I have ultimately made the bittersweet decision to depart the White House and embark on a new chapter in my life. President Trump has asked me to continue serving as a top advisor to him on the outside, and I will always remain a vocal advocate for MAGA and the Republican Party. Our country is facing the existential threat of an increasingly extremist Democratic Party that seeks to destroy everything great about America. And I believe it is incumbent upon all of us who care about this country to fight back against any threat. My fight is entering a new phase, but it is far from over. Thank you again to the President, the First Lady, the entire Trump family for your kindness and generosity over the years. Thank you to our amazing Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, for empowering me since the day she hired me on the campaign, and to the President's cabinet, my staff, colleagues, and friends at the White House who work so hard on behalf of our nation. It has been a privilege to serve alongside so many accomplished and impressive people, and I look forward to cheering them on over the next 2.5 years. And of course, thank you most especially to my loving and supportive husband and family for the sacrifices they made for me to serve in this role. To that, President Trump on his Truth Social page, our wonderful White House press secretary and one of my most trusted aides, Caroline Levitt, will be departing her role. And I will let you read the rest of that for yourself. He just goes in to talk about what a great, great person, first of all, a great, great leader, and an amazing, amazing, amazing press secretary. I know, well, we know that Caroline, she knows a thing or two about doing the right thing. So let me see if I can find my clip.
And we urge Democrat senators to vote to reopen the government and to do the right thing.
And trust me, that will be missed. We'll continue to play it, even if she's no longer press secretary. Got a long list of things going on. But I wanted to tell you before we get into news about, let me find it over here. Well, let me see if I downloaded it. I did. I want to show you a quick video about a movie that is coming out this weekend.
Howdy, my name is Evelyn Cott, and I play Jessica and Elijah Peel, and I'm so excited to interview people on the red carpet. What did you guys think of the movie?
I had a little tears going. You were fantastic.
That's why you should bring tissues.
I thought it was amazing. There was a very lovely lead actress in it.
I'm going to tell the whole world about this movie.
We laughed, we cried. It was just fabulous.
1 out of 10, how good is it?
11.
We can't wait for you to see Elijah Peel only in theaters starting August 14th.
Everybody needs to go see this for sure.
All right, so if you're looking for a powerful and inspiring movie to see this weekend, you need to check out Elijah Peel. It hits theaters Friday the 14th. The executive producers are Willie and Corey Robertson of Duck Dynasty fame. The film follows a successful rock star whose life of fame and addiction comes crashing down after a near-fatal heart attack. While in recovery, he forms an unexpected bond with a terminally ill 9-year-old girl named Jessica, whose unwavering faith and radiant spirit begin to break through his hardened heart. Christians should definitely put this on their watch list because it delivers a raw and uplifting message that no one is ever too far gone for God's grace, offering a beautiful reminder of the life-changing power of redemption and second chances. Boy, that sounds good. I know Amy and I love the Robertson family. Phil and Cy, the elder statesman. Of course, Phil has gone on to be with Jesus. And we like following the Robertsons. So Elijah Peel this weekend in movie theaters. And I'm going to move from that to the exact opposite, something that is truly despicable. I want you to listen to this video real quick before I get into the Massachusetts governor signing a bill that should make you, well, I ain't even going to say it, just listen.
So I really want to just emphasize what you're looking at here. This governor of Massachusetts just signed a bill that allows the intentional killing of babies up until the moment that they are born. And so what the doctor would do is then inject the baby with something that would cause heart failure. Abortion up until the point of birth is very barbaric and brutal. A late-term abortion is when they will either poison the baby so they could have heart failure. The second thing that they will do is allow the baby to be born. And if the baby isn't already dead, they will then let the baby die. I think this is something that's demonic. It should not be happening. People shouldn't even be able to sign these type of things into law. But then you have a room full of women that will say, oh, they're in support of women. But what about the woman that's in the womb? What about the woman you're letting die? This is demonic. It shouldn't be happening. Any pastor, any Christian, any person with any type of heart wouldn't say that you let a baby be killed in the womb. And so we need to pray against this. I want to encourage every pastor, every Christian, every born again believer, anybody that sees this video to not just scroll past it, but really go into war for babies that are unborn, that need prayer because their life is in danger. Their life is in danger of being snuffed out because people want to kill babies up until the point of birth. And so would you join me in praying for this, because it needs to be reversed?
Needs to be reversed, and anybody that had anything to do with it needs to be put out of office by whatever means legally necessary. Not by whatever means necessary, but whatever legal means that can be done. Impeachment, voting them out the next time that they're in the election ballot, whatever. Let's look a little bit more about that. Governor Maura Healey signed legislation on Monday that significantly changes the state's abortion laws after 24 weeks of pregnancy. And we need to be precise here, because you're going to hear this described in dramatically different ways depending on where you get your news. Previously, Massachusetts permitted abortion through 21 weeks, with abortions after that point restricted to certain circumstances. The new law removes those statutory restrictions and allows a physician to make the determination based upon the doctor's professional medical judgment. Supporters say this is about protecting women facing complicated pregnancies and allowing doctors rather than politicians to make difficult medical decisions. They argue that abortions later in pregnancy are uncommon and frequently involve heartbreaking circumstances involving fetal abnormalities or serious medical complication. And that's the argument that they use to support this legislation. Since when did they use the fact that they rarely ever happen to allow them to happen? That's normally the pro-life side of the equation, is that they rarely ever happen, so why make them legal? Now, I don't know. I think, well, first of all, do we trust abortion doctors? I would say absolutely not. Do we trust abortion doctors to do the right thing? Absolutely not. And so we're going to put life and death, not life and death, murder, in the hands of an abortion doctor who thinks that it's okay to murder babies. Now, go ahead, bring your stuff on. I know you'll say, well, that's not what they're talking about. They're not talking about abortion doctors. Trust me, they will be abortion doctors doing abortions at the very last second because of this law that they could have never done before. Now, let's go way back. Any abortion is abhorrent. It's horrible. It's taken the life that God created. You can quit the somatics. You know, I'm tired of arguing points with the left. It's just time that we as Christians, we as people with morals, say enough's enough and quit dilly-dallying around, lily-livering around, and just say what things are. Abortion is murder. Abortion is murder. And if you don't agree with that, you're allowed to have your opinion and you're allowed to be wrong. Abortion is murder. It's not women's health care. No. Come on, that's the most ridiculous argument that there is. It's women's health care. A non-pregnant woman, their health care doesn't include killing somebody. So it ain't got nothing to do with women's health care. It's got everything to do with murdering babies. And now they can murder babies in Massachusetts all the way up until birth. And you just heard the gentleman say that even after birth, if the baby hasn't been totally killed during that late term abortion, that last second abortion, they can let it lay there and die. What about the Hippocratic Oath? Huh? Where's that come into play? Who is going to take care of that baby's health? You know, we've got the left taking care of mother's health. Who's going to take care of the baby's health? Who gets to decide that for the baby? Because obviously the baby who, think about this, the way this works is a baby is vital. It is ready to be born. It will be born. Could be an hour from now. But instead, it's killed in that hour. Now, verse that with the very same baby that is born in that hour and lives and goes on. What's the difference? Amy, what's the difference?
None.
There
Absolutely
is none. It's think about a brand newborn baby. We've got friends that just had new babies, and we got friends who just had new grandbabies. And we've had between us 10 babies between Amy and I. And the joy of that very first look, that 10 minutes before that, they were in the womb, and in Massachusetts risked being killed 10 minutes sooner.
That should be the safest place in the world for that baby to be, is in the womb. And in Massachusetts, it's the most dangerous place to be.
I mean, there can be nothing more despicable than what I'm discussing right now. It's just so frustrating that in a world where everybody thinks everything is okay, that we've included murdering babies in that. And murdering babies, you know, we're not talking about premature babies, which they shouldn't be murdered either. We're not talking about first term, second term babies. They shouldn't be murdered either. We're talking about babies that are ready to come out of the womb. And you think that it's going to be just that the doctor feels that his professional judgment is that the baby should be killed.
Well, this is the sad thing, is there's high dollar in fetal parts. There's high dollar in brain tissue. There's high dollar in organs. These doctors are going to start making money off of baby parts and selling baby parts. And it's going to become a business to where these doctors are going to make a ton of money. And it's going to become a black market business, all legal.
Well, and that side of the argument says that once the state removes a specific gestational restriction, there's no longer a meaningful statutory limit preventing an abortion very late in pregnancy if a physician determines it appropriate. So if they determine it is appropriate, who do they answer to?
and what qualifies as appropriate?
If they murder that baby, do they have to go back and report on what it was that what caused them to make that decision? I don't see anything about that. I don't think there's anything in existing case study that says the doctors have to go back and write a report. Maybe maybe Amy, if an abortion doctor does an abortion, does he have to list every single body part that he rips out of the womb of the mother, step by step by step? Because if he did, maybe he would think, oh man, that sounds terrible. Nah, he wouldn't think that. Because abortion doctors, they're okay with murder. And you can call me whatever name you want to call me for saying that, but he's just justifying that he murdered a baby to make money. Whether he sold the body parts or didn't sell the body parts, he just charged a woman for murdering a baby. I don't care if you like me. I really don't. Our country is so screwed up because people like me have sat around for too long and quit talking about what the real deal is.
That's right.
Because we walk on eggshells but around so-called Christians that say we hate everything and we hate everybody.
And we can't talk about that because it might make someone feel bad.
I've got a friend. I've not talked to him in several years, but I follow him on Facebook. He was one of my professors in theology. And he's now gotten the woke belief system. And he and people like him try to make those of us that believe the way we do feel like we're only, I won't even say partial Christians. He would think that we're not Christians, that everything is about love. And everything is about love. I love little babies being able to be born and not murdered by the... Actually, you know what? The mother doesn't even murder the baby. The mother's just an accessory.
But she makes that decision.
She makes the decision for another person to murder her baby. As a matter of fact, if she don't look into it, she won't have any idea what happened to her baby. She won't have any idea that they ripped one of his arms off and then another one of his arms off and sucked his brains out of his head. Oh, is that too graphic? It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. So I guess, I guess the biggest thing that bothers me about this is that when there's an outrage like I have about this, that Amy has about this, that pro-life Christians have about this, it kind of makes it seem like, well, first and second trimester abortions really aren't so bad. We're now just focusing on late-term abortions. Look, whatever degree of despicable it is, it's still despicable.
Sure.
So the morning after pill is despicable. All the way to late-term abortions is despicable. And I don't think God approves of any of those. So there, take that.
When the end result is death of a child, it's bad.
A healthy child.
Even if it's not a healthy child, even if that child has a disease, Down syndrome,
A rare heart
A heart
disease like
disease.
Teddy had.
absolutely. Teddy was a miracle baby.
Well, I don't think abortion was ever in the picture for Teddy's parents.
Absolutely.
Their picture was, please just let him be born alive. Let him be born. Not we're going to think about taking him away. They were begging for prayer that Teddy would be born. Begging.
Yep.
So I've got some new audio that I want to share with people tonight. course, this year, coming up in September, is the 25th anniversary of 9/11. And of course, we'll need to be paying real close attention to that. We've got two major things happening in September. News-wise, we got a major thing happening fun-wise, but September the 11th and the first anniversary of the death of Charlie Kirk are both next month. And so I've got a little bit of an audio I want you to listen to.
Today, as we remember 25 years since 9/11, here are words of healing from Revelation 21:4. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain.
Remembering 9/11 25 years ago.
A message from Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. Today, as we remember
I was thinking about 25 years. That's a quarter of a century. And here we've lost our path, our focus on our country. And it's just like 9/11 never happened. Here's a lady and her opinion on what's happening on the Islamic front as we speak.
At this point, we only have two options left. Option number one, we stop the Islamic takeover of our country. Option number two, we don't. No matter what option we choose, the liberals are going to have something to say about that option. If we do stop the Islamic takeover of our country, the liberals will say, oh my gosh, you guys are so racist. You're xenophobic, you're Islamophobic, you're the worst people, you're horrible. If we don't stop the Islamic takeover of our country, the liberals are going to say, oh my gosh, I didn't see this coming. Why is everything burning? Why did you do that to my dog? Why is my cousin being beheaded? Oh my gosh, why are all the women in hijabs? So at this point, it is up to us to realize that no matter what we do, they're not going to be happy. So it is up to us to stop caring about their happiness. It is up to us to start choosing our own happiness. Not only our happiness, but our safety, our security, our country, and our dogs.
A little bit of humor, but not much humor. Actually, when you pull out that, it was a minute and 33 seconds. If you pull out about 3 seconds of it, there was nothing funny about any of that. There were dueling rallies this past weekend. There was a Jesus March and a Shia procession, both in Chicago at the same time. The Christian worship leader, Sean, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. I've seen it, and I know he's known, Feucth, was involved with a Jesus March through the city of Chicago. At the same time, Shia Muslims were participating in an Arbeen procession. For those unfamiliar with it, like I am, Arbeen is an important Shia Muslim religious observance commemorating, I can't say this gentleman's name, and his martyrdom. So you have two groups. My notes say two religious groups. I say two groups, one religious and one not religious, two very different ways of believing. And they were both on a public discourse at the same time. And their processions did encounter one another. Many videos were taken. Christians could be heard proclaiming Jesus as they moved through the area of the Muslim procession. The Christian pastor described what happened in a very strong spiritual term. Some Christians celebrated it as believers boldly proclaiming Jesus in public. Some criticized it as being too confrontational for Jesus. You see, therein lies the problem, folks. Not only is Islam evil and not a religion, but we've got Christians who don't want to be confrontational about it, while, as the lady we just heard said, we have two choices: either not let it happen or let it happen. I'm on the side of not letting it happen. How about that? Do Christians have the right to proclaim Jesus publicly? Absolutely. Not only do they have the right, they have the responsibility of doing that. The First Amendment protects us from that, but let me not say that way, because somebody would try to butcher that. The First Amendment is not necessary for us to go out and preach the word of Jesus Christ. That is our God-given right. The First Amendment just makes sure that there is a legal basis for it. Do you understand the difference there? I had to catch myself there. We don't have to have the First Amendment to do that. The First Amendment just guarantees our legal right, but we have a right higher than the legal right, and that is the right through Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, who gave his life as a sacrifice for our sins. Christians don't have to hide their faith just inside church buildings. And in America, neither does any other religion. But we as Christians have got to stop being of the opinion that when we do it, it's hate speech, because it's not. The left has got people so brainwashed that even good Christian people don't want to be confrontational in defense of Jesus.
That's right.
You got to get past that, people. We are losing our country. Oh, preacher, there you go, being dramatic. Look at the last year. Look at the last 6 months. Look at 2001 and look at 2026. In 2001, Muslims brought down the World Trade Center, both buildings. In 2026, we got a Muslim mayor in New York City.
That's right.
Huh? Oh, there you go. You're being prejudiced. You call it anything you want. I'll call it wrong, and I will call it out. I'm tired of playing around with this Muslim game because it's no game. It's no game to them when they speak out. And years ago, the Muslim Brotherhood said that their objective was to bring the United States to its knees and do it from within.
Yep.
Not like the Japanese and the kamikazes that attacked Pearl Harbor, not like their 19 hijackers that brought down the World Trade Center, damaged the Pentagon, and made a great big hole in Pennsylvania. Not like them, even though similarly, they came, they assimilated, they learned how to fly airplanes and flew them into our buildings. Now, we've got them trying to take over our government.
and a mayor that's joining a prayer session vowing to kill nonconformists and cutting their heads off.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have time to cover every single thing that's going on this topic. And it's sickening that what I thought were good Christian people won't speak out and say it is wrong. Whew, man. Looking at
And it's the mayor of the state that it happened in.
He lives close to where the Trade Center was. Of course, we've got the Iran war still going on, and as of today, there are signs of possible diplomatic movement, but don't confuse that with peace. Once again, we can say the same things that we've been saying all the while. America says the Strait of Hormuz is open for business. Tehran says it is shut down, and everybody is in danger. We'll back that up with a major story that has been talked about a few days back, and that would be the controversy of President Trump changing airplanes. An airplane itself is not designated Air Force One. An airplane that the president is on is designated Air Force One. And so he was scheduled to fly out of Turkey after the summit there, the NATO summit, I believe, that was taking place in Turkey. He was scheduled to fly out in the normal Air Force One, I believe the one that we got from Qatar as a gift. And the Secret Service had a credible threat that Iran was going to try to assassinate the president. Israel was in on the intelligence gathering on that. They notified the United States of that credible threat in addition to our own intelligence gathering. And so they being the Secret Service, felt that it was necessary to utilize some deception. I've seen a AI generated video of what could have been taking place, and actually if I get this a little bit wrong, go ahead and correct me. That's okay. But let me see. I got a comment here. That was 4 minutes ago. Beth said absolutely wrong. I think she's probably talking on the Muslim issue there. But if I'm wrong on this, I believe Trump actually got on to what was normally referred to as Air Force One, the Qatari jet that was gifted to us, not him. And they actually took him out, moved him to the other one under the cover of, I actually think they moved him out through the catering truck that came and put him out in the catering truck and moved him to the second airplane, much smaller airplane than Air Force One. I believe that the press and non-essential people had no idea that the president wasn't on the plane. And so he's not talked much about it. I seen where they asked him, and he said the Secret Service handles all of that, and he does what they tell him. And he said, I get death threats all the time, and obviously he does. But to me, it seems like a very, very, very big deal that they felt it necessary to remove the president of the United States from what from the plane that is normally referred to as Air Force One into another separate plane. And that's why you don't trust Iran. Mic drop and walk away. To me, that's reason enough to blow them to smithereens. Oh, listen to that preacher. He's all upset about one late-term abortion, and then he says to blow Iran to smithereens. Maybe didn't do nothing wrong, but Tehran sure does. Don't even compare the two. Two terribly different subjects. Both include evil. Both include evil, and that's for sure. Got one final topic I want to cover, and make sure to check here and I think I'm going to share my screen on this one. I meant to download it. Let me look and make sure. Let's see, media assets. Oh, I did get the video. Most of you have probably seen this. We're going to talk about it.
Face coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant 2. There is wind up, there is follow through, there's potential for injury.
Without
Sophie
question.
Cunningham in a vulnerable position in the air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question why Sophie.
Okay, let me give you some observations first of all, just some general observations. The foul was called, and to me, I have no clue why they needed to even go to a video replay to decide that that was a flagrant 2, which flagrant 2 is an automatic ejection. I refereed, not on the level, obviously, of the WNBA, but I probably refereed 1,000 ball games or more. I refereed for about 20 years. And I could have called that in real time we didn't call them, the equivalent back when I refereed would have been an intentional foul. An intentional foul means that you intentionally tried to foul and not make a defensive play. There was nothing defensive about that play that we just watched where Sophie Cunningham was practically decapitated. I mean, she could have had her neck broken. She could have had all kinds of things. Her career could have been ended. And the game officials did what they were supposed to. Even though I questioned why they needed to watch it on replay, they did what they were supposed to. They did the maximum penalty that they had. They ejected her from the game. Now, as you've seen in the video, there was an insert there towards the bottom of the screen that said white privilege, and then it was tagged Indiana Fever. That was an Instagram post that the player that committed the foul went straight into the locker room and posted while the game was going on. Immediately popped up on Instagram, white privilege. Now, there's a lot I could say about that part of the story, the white privilege. I'll let you go look and see the things that she said. She called somebody out for not knowing what she meant, that she made sure that everybody knows that she's a highly intelligent young lady, that she went to Stanford, which is like the Ivy League of the West Coast. Really smart people go to Stanford. And so she made sure everybody knew she spent 4 years there. She's really smart. And she knows what she meant when she put white privilege. And people that were just guessing what she meant don't know squat. So you would think that watching that play, let's say we recreated that entire play and it was stick people instead of humans. And I say that to say that neither one was white and neither one was black. So make it real people that are both yellow or something like that, pink or whatever, both the same color of pink. And you would be saying that the person that committed the foul got the appropriate punishment. It shouldn't have anything to do with white and black. It shouldn't have anything to do with white privilege or not white privilege. I remember the first time somebody accused me of white privilege. I about fell on the floor because it was white people that accused me of it. It was white people that, well, never mind. So it shouldn't have anything to do with black and white, but because it's the WNBA, it does. It shouldn't have anything to do with trans and non-trans, but because it's the WNBA, it does. Is it just coincidental that the person who has been taking all kind of flack because of her stance on transgender ball players, athletes, is the one that just about got her head knocked off? I don't know. You believe in coincidence if you want. I think it has something that really ought to do with it. But here's where I am truly appalled. Of course, the press is going to be the press, and the WNBA press is so left-leaning. It's ESPN and those Disney snowflakes that, I'm not even appalled by them because that's just who they are. What I'm appalled about is the fact that the WNBA league governance, the commissioner, any of the top echelon didn't do anything beyond her ejection of the ball game. You tell me that you can go practically decapitate someone, sit out the rest of that game, and be allowed to play the next game. I don't even know if an ejection gets a fine. I'd have to look that up. But if she was to get suspended, even for one game, I say it was worth at least 5. Should have been at least a 5-game suspension without pay. Then that hurts the pocketbook a little bit. Maybe not the men's NBA, money to them is like Monopoly game, but they didn't suspend her. So let's say what that's saying. You can hate somebody. You can assault them. And they can smack your wrist, smack your hand. And that's all that happens. That's what the WNBA says. That's what the WNBA says was okay. And Beth says that, here, let me throw that up there. The WNBA is out of control. It is way past out of control. And it kind of sucks for us people that live in Indiana and like the Indiana Fever, because the two favorite players for most people are Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. Of course, Aaliyah Boston and the point guard that is, I can't think of her name. She's pretty awesome too. She scored over 20 points in 17 straight games. But it kind of sucks that we're not talking about how good they are. We're talking about transgender and fouls. But let's look again. This is what we're talking
Face
about.
coming down, trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant 2. There is wind up, there is follow through, there's potential for injury.
Without
There's Sophie
question.
Cunningham in a vulnerable position in the air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question why Sophie.
Did you see her neck snap? I mean, it snapped, not like it snapped off, okay? But I mean, it snapped backwards. The force, see, if it was a basketball play, she would have went up and tried to block, not taking her hands like this and went down across her head. And, you know, sports are physical. And I actually like physical basketball play. That was dirty, and there's no place for dirty in professional sports. Let me check real quick to see. My friend Trevor made a great point here. The WNBA can't even define what a woman is. They're going to meet to define the terms. And the reason that they have to do that is because 2 former NBA players have sent letters of intent to file to be drafted into the WNBA next year. Because at this point, there's nothing that says they can't. Because the WNBA can't define what a woman is. Of course, we talked about Caroline Leavitt and her resignation. You know, I want to say good for her. Her first responsibility is to God. And after that comes family. Before job, before country. And so God bless her for looking out for her children. Looking to see. And I think I covered everything there. Trump, Air Force One, the Iran war, Massachusetts, the march in Chicago. So I think I've covered everything that was on my list for tonight. Again, Ronnie was running late. I mentioned at the beginning, we've had some severe weather here in central Indiana, both last night and throughout the day today. He was pushed back. They actually put employees in shelter for the storm that was yesterday. Then they had an issue, again, because of weather today. And so he's just on this shift for last week and this week for his training period. He should be going to an overnight shift after this week to where then it won't be an issue for him being able to be on Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. Let me look here. And looking at what I've got to play for our outro, and let me just kind of close my eyes and well, that's what I'm going to choose right there. It was one of the ones that I had tonight that really didn't have a topic. It's just a good video. So, well, it's good as in it's scary. It's titled Hell is Real. And, you know, we all have to worry about whether or not hell is real, not just the people who openly sin and the things that we speak out against, but we all have to worry about that. So the plan is to be here Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern. Tomorrow, Thursday, we have Bible study at the Father's house here, right where I'm sitting here. 6:30, we have a meal, and then we do some Bible study. We're in the book of Acts. Love to have you. I could entice you by giving you the menu. Chicken casserole done by my own personal chef, my wife, who has done amazing things since retirement. I have gained weight. I'll just put it that way. I won't say how much. And she warned me before, you're probably going to gain weight because I'm going to feed you good. And she does. So that's Thursday. Love to have you. If you don't know how to get here, 1417 Pearl Street in Columbus, Indiana. Get a hold of me. I'll give you directions. We'd welcome you with open arms. Sunday, I pastor 2 different churches. I pastor Old Union Church out on 800 North in Bartholomew County. We start at 10 o'clock. I'm also the pastor of the Father's House. We have Sunday night services right here, 6 o'clock Sunday night. Again, either place, if you would need directions, just reach out and we would welcome you with open and loving arms both places. Say goodnight, Amy.
Good night, Amy.
Oh, that sounds familiar. We'll be doing prayer and share again real soon. But until we see you again, everyone, enjoy this story in this video. Enjoy it because it tells you how good God is. And until then, go out and do the right thing.
You know, whatever people think, they don't know that they'll have tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And 1 second after you die, it's too late. You know, I'll just share a quick story. My neighbor was a tough Marine, tough as nails, atheist, never wanted to hear about God. I used to talk to him. I liked him. He was a great guy, but he just says, Bill, I'm not interested in the Bible. Don't ever talk to me about the Bible. And he was big, burly, tough guy. Yeah. And one day I found out from his wife, he was in the hospital dying of a disease. So my wife and I went. We said, can we go see him? She goes, sure, but don't talk to him about the Bible. He doesn't like the Bible. Well, she didn't either. She was an atheist also. So we go to see him, and we walk in, and he's only maybe 70 pounds. Oh, he had a disease, and he's shriveled all up now. He's not the big guy that he used to be. And he said to me, Bill, I was slipping out of my body last night. I almost died. They resuscitated me. He says, but I was heading down a long, dark tunnel. And it was getting hotter and hotter.
Oh, my goodness.
He said, Bill, I've never been afraid of anything. I was terrified. I was terrified. I said, Chuck, you have reason to be terrified. You know where you were heading. He goes, hell. Bill, how do I stay out of hell? Please. And he's weeping, tears. You know, he's skinny, he's laying there and tubes hooked up and everything. And I said, look, I'll share with you the way of salvation, but you have to repent honestly, turn away from sin and realize that we're sinners. We can't save ourselves. Yeah. But Jesus died for us. So I explained the whole way of salvation to him. At the end, he said, please let me say this prayer. So he repeated after us. We said the prayer, and he had now tears of joy. He totally changed. And anyway, a couple hours later, he died. So what if we wouldn't have gone? What if we wouldn't have gone, number one? But the point was, he was a tough guy, and he wasn't even in hell. He was only on his way to hell.